I'm Doreen Yu. I'm Associate Editor of the Philippine Star. I'm very happy in the place I'm in now as a CHiNOY, as a Pinoy. And I've lived long enough that if anybody challenges what I am or tries to belittle what I am, I know enough to fight back, and I know I will win. Because whatever prejudices they may have, I know I can counter. Whatever they decide to say about my being a Chinese, my being CHiNOY, neither here nor there, everything, all of that, I stand on solid ground, and I can answer any one of them. Be sure and catch Chinese by Blood, Filipino by Heart, presented by CHiNOY TV.
Hi, I'm Janina Chan. I'm a TV host, I'm a podcaster, a columnist, and a content creator. Okay, so for our family, it's kind of like a mix of both traditional and modern, but in terms of upbringing, in terms of how we were raised, me and my sister, by our parents, I think it is similar to most families here in the Philippines. You know, we're both very family-oriented. I am a part of a very supportive family, so I'm also grateful that, especially my mom, she's always been supportive ever since I was a baby girl. Literally started young. And I'm so grateful for my family's encouragement and support in what I do. Being part of the One CHiNOY campaign is definitely such an honor and also a responsibility. I am so happy to be here, to be able to reflect as well on my identity, and I feel more realigned to myself by doing so too. It's definitely been fun, and I love knowing more about where I belong. I'm grateful for where I'm going. Onwards, together as One CHiNOY community. I'm inviting all of you to watch CHiNOY TV presents Chinese by Blood, Filipino by Heart.
Hello, I'm Nicole Cordoves, and I was Miss Chinatown 2014 and Binibining Pilipinas Grand International 2016. I think the biggest misconception is that we keep to ourselves, we're not so emotional, because growing up in a Chinese family, we don't really say, we don't state our feelings, we don't show our emotions, we're not touchy at all. And our parents don't even give us encouragement. Not that it's not entirely a bad thing, but more of they want us to stay humble. I'm really honored to be part of One CHiNOY because I feel like we need to tell our story more. We need to open up a conversation more, and I know that ang dami nating CHiNOY community members na naghahanap ng kausap, naghahanap ng mahuhugutan ng advice. So we need to be more present, we need to be more visible. And I'm inviting you guys to watch CHiNOY TV presents Chinese by Blood, Filipino by Heart.
Hi, I'm Patricia Ngo, and I'm a children's book writer here in the Philippines. Growing up, I didn't see a lot of representation of CHiNOYs, and I think that's why I wasn't really that sure about what it meant to be CHiNOY. And Eventually, when I reached college, I learned about how culture isn't a pure and static thing. Cultures keep changing just as people do, and the CHiNOY culture is just one way in which cultures kept changing. And I learned that there wasn't just one way of being Filipino. There were many ways to do so, and being CHiNOY was a valid way of being Filipino. I think that this campaign is really important in helping bridge the gap between whatever miscommunications we might have with other cultures and other people. There are times when people misunderstand what it means to be CHiNOY. They don't understand sometimes that the Philippines is still our home and that we are still Filipinos, even with our different experiences. And I appreciate that this campaign helps bridge that gap and to clarify those misconceptions that people have. I'm inviting you to watch CHiNOY TV presents Chinese by Blood, Filipino by Heart.
Hi, I'm Rob Jam. I'm a illustrator, comic book creator, art director, and friend. Well, I just wanted to make comics as a kid. I didn't know it could be a career. I think even if you are from a Filipino family, if you tell them you want to be an artist, they're kind of afraid of it. Because yeah, there's such a misconception of how you can make money in art. I know that the Filipino-Chinese community, or the Chinese community, it's so focused on what's sure to be a successful career path or a successful business or a successful whatever. And then art is such a thing outside of that. I feel very honored to be part of this because, yeah, I knew I was always a part of this community, but I've never really felt like recognition from it, or that anyone in the Chinese-Filipino community or Filipino-Chinese community cared, because yeah, like there's that whole expectation that they don't know much about art, or they see art as just, well, waste of time, that kind of thing. And I'm inviting you to watch CHiNOY TV presents Chinese by Blood, Filipino by Heart.
My name is Stan C. I'm a radio DJ, a podcaster, a voice talent, an events host, and a writer. All things that you're not expected to be when you're CHiNOY. I grew up in a traditional, stereotypical Chinese-Filipino household. So my dad is pure Chinese born in the Philippines. And my mom is literal na mestiza because my maternal grandmother was Bisaya. She came from Leyte. And yung maternal grandfather ko, who I never met, was an immigrant from China. So I really got it all, in the sense na talagang Chinese-Filipino ako, and I can't just be one without the other. I feel privileged to be part of the One CHiNOY campaign because I want to be the voice that starts these uncomfortable conversations, and it's high time that they happen because we have to look at who we are to understand where we come from. And that's a conversation that's long overdue. It's time to shock the system. And I'm inviting you to watch CHiNOY TV presents Chinese by Blood, Filipino by Heart.
Hi, my name is Tim Yap. I'm a host and eventologist. I'm proud to be CHiNOY because I know I come from a bloodline of hard work. I come from a place where tough love was the norm, where we always had to work hard to get to where we are. It was always one step at a time. Nothing was given to us on a silver platter. I I love being part of this One CHiNOY campaign because it reminds us that we are one, right? That we are in a world that's becoming so tribal and into each other's, only into each other's. We need reminders that, hey, we are all one and the same. And I'm inviting you to watch CHiNOY TV presents Chinese by Blood, Filipino by Heart.
I'm Wilson Lee Flores. I'm in the real estate business. Also, my hobby is writing a column in Philippine Star. I also own a bakery in Quezon City. I have Chinese and I have Filipino culture. That's 100% Filipino, 100% Chinese. So I'm 200% of a person. I'm 200% richer as a person. It's not like, there's no need to balance. I have to continuously learn to be both. Every single culture that enriches us is important. We should always analyze ourselves in order to be better human beings. And our ethnic Chinese minority in the Philippines, non-stop changes. We are experiencing non-stop changes every generation. We should be better. We should always strive to be better. By cherishing our heritage and our values, learning from our ancestors in order to be a benefit to the Philippines. I'm inviting you to watch CHiNOY TV presents Chinese by Blood, Filipino by Heart.
The modern CHiNOY.
Where are you from? I said, I'm from the Philippines. But how come you speak Chinese? So there's always that ambiguity. Are you really Filipino or are you Chinese?
I've been asking questions all my life, like, am I Filipino enough or am I Chinese enough?
And then my uncle looks at me, you do TV? Hello, you're too singkit. So, meaning ba pag singkit, hindi ka pwede mag-TV?
At that time, it was at the height of the island dispute, and the CHiNOYs have been at the middle of the crossfire between the Chinese and the Filipinos. So because of that, we decided to address this because at that time, a lot of people are confused in terms of the loyalty of the CHiNOYs here.
Where does your nationalism or your patriotism lie? Does it lie with where your ancestors come from? Or does it lie with where you were born and raised?
So, our manliligals always ask na may Great Wall ba yung pamilya niyo?
Funnily enough, I have never really dated a lot of Chinese girls. They scare me.
I really would like to grow up like a normal child. I really would like to go to the mall, watch a movie. But had it not been for this training of my parents, I would not be where I am today.
We should not lose out our Asian heritage. Yun ang fear ko, yun ang worry ko is it's easy to lose out our Asianness by all these overwhelming Western cultural influences.
I want to be the voice that starts these uncomfortable conversations, and it's high time that they happen because we have to look at who we are to understand where we come from.
No matter how it is run, this is our country. It is our lupang hinirang. We are just in one country, we are in one boat. Do not say why me, just say why not me.
Chinese by blood, Filipino by heart. Hashtag One CHiNOY is brought to you by Doña Maria Premium Quality Rice, our Filipino farmers' hard work and dedication in every grain. BA Securities, your trading partner in Asia Pacific.
I've always wanted to work for hotels. I went into hospitality business. I went to Taipei. I worked as a management trainee, for Hilton Taipei, I remember. And I waited tables. I waited tables. I was a waiter. And I even cleaned bathroom when I was, assigned in the housekeeping. These are all things that I believe that you have to go through. Even when I moved into the retail industry or the malling industry, I started as one of the employees of SM, worked in a single mall. As a matter of fact, this mall where we are right now, the Podium, you work your way up. So there's no such thing as odd jobs. There's only experiences. These experiences that I have has greatly contributed to what I am doing right now, because service industry and what I'm currently doing is almost the same. It's serving the public, it's serving your customers. Even if the venue is different, the purpose or the objective is the same, service. My name is Steven Tan. I'm the president of SM Supermalls. Welcome to Podium. This is where it all started. I was the mall manager of a small mall before. It was half of the size. Now it has expanded into a full mall. I joined SM 2004 and I was managing this mall. Look at how it evolved. It has changed so much. We also expanded this last 2019, but prior to expansion, we had to close the whole mall and reconceptualize it. We curated really the branding. All the restaurants you would see are all like one-off restaurants. It's really selected and curated. As you can see, this is the end result. I hope that you will not be disappointed. So let's take a walk. I'm very, very CHiNOY. I cannot be more CHiNOY than anyone. We speak the language, both Tagalog and Chinese. In one sentence, you would have English, Tagalog, Fukien, and sometimes even Mandarin in just one single sentence. I have a very strict father. He's a disciplinarian. We would wake up at like 6 o'clock in the morning, whether it's a Monday or a Sunday. My dad was very strict. At 7 o'clock, dinner time, you have to be there. When you eat, you just eat. No talking, no making cuento, or there's no such thing as, talking to each other and, just, drinking and dining, After having, dinner, you bring your plates and utensils back to the sink. It's not like you just leave it there, But I think those are basic disciplines that were instilled early on. My parents would always, especially my dad, would always think that I'm not Chinese enough. I've always imbibed the Western culture. I listen to foreign music or American music. I dress like, an American, the fashion. And my dad decided, okay, for you to be more Chinese, why don't you move to Taipei? When I was living in Taipei, they would always feel that I'm not Chinese as well. They would say that, where are you from? I would say, I'm from the Philippines, but you're not Filipinos, are you? Because you don't look Filipino. So in what way am I not Chinese enough, no? Then I realized when I live in Taipei, there's a lot of culture, there's a lot of tradition. I was able to polish my fluency in Mandarin. I was able also to learn a lot of cultures and traditions. Living in Taipei is such a great experience, and I'm just so glad that I did it. The best thing about this mall is the architecture. If you would look at the mall, it's so different. This is by a Miami-based architect called ARQ or Arquitectonica. You would see this is very different from other SM Supermalls. The lines and the architecture, look at the beauty of this mall. When I was in my late 20s, I decided to take up my MBA in Paris School of Management. I lived in Paris for 2 years. My love for Paris. Even when I was growing up in high school or during college, I would watch European movies more than Hollywood movies, no? Life in Paris is wild. But we all go through that phase, no? We have to have fun. I enjoyed it. I learned a lot. I didn't hang out with any Filipino people or any Chinese people when I was in France, solely because I really wanted to learn the language and to learn the culture, to understand the culture deep inside. I had a Vespa. When I was living in Paris. So I really moved around Paris. I know Paris so well now. It's like, you know, at the back of my hand, no? I'm already in my early 50s now. I'm actually 51 right now. But since 25 years old until now, there's no single year that I miss going to Paris. Even last year, I was there prior to the pandemic. Now, I was there February. Hopefully, I could visit before the year ends. I think the reason why I was so in love with Paris is because of the grandeur, the architecture, you know, it spans, it was not damaged during the war, you know? So every building tells a story. I believe that everything happens for a reason. When I was growing up, I've always wanted to be in the hotel business, to be a hotelier, because I always find that, you know, it's so glamorous, it's so glitzy to be in a 5-star hotel. I always thought that would be my last career, being a hotelier. After my MBA, when I was applying for a job, I had an interview with Hyatt then, and Hyatt says that, okay, can you go and help us, you know, set up, you know, hotels in China? I had an interview with L'Oreal. L'Oreal told me, okay, you're qualified, we want to hire you because of your fluency in Mandarin as well, but can you move to China? And then I decided, instead of going to China or staying in Paris, I decided to move back to the Philippines. I came back to the Philippines, worked for a hotel chain, a Spanish hotel chain. Even in the start of my career with the hotel chain here in the Philippines, no, I was asked to open a hotel in Shanghai. It's called Barcelo Grand Hotel. No? So I was part of the opening team of Barcelo Grand Hotel in China. I lived there for 6 months, helped them open it, moved back to Manila and worked for, you know, this hotel chain. And one of the hotel that we were managing happens to be the Al Vista Hotel. That is how I got exposed to the Sea family. Podium, as you would see, is actually part of our SM Premier Mall collection. No? What is SM Premier Malls? SM Premier Malls are the likes of Aura, this one, you know, Mall of Asia, Mega Fashion Hall, the block, no? But this is really not about isolating, you know, other market, but enriching or making our market bigger, no? To welcome everyone. Whether it's, you know, the A market or the D market, everyone's welcome in SM. I think it was 2004, I decided maybe I should go back to Paris because I always believe that is where my heart is. 1 week before me moving out of the Philippines, I got a phone call from Tessie C. Coson. One evening, it was, I think, 9 o'clock in the evening. She says, okay, are you interested to work for SM? I was medyo caught off guard. No? I told her that, I'm moving back to Paris. She says, why don't you go on a vacation, go for a month or two, come back and work for us. It's not like maybe you want to, it's just come back and work for us. And I'm glad I did. I think that was one of the best decisions I've made in my life. I was a mall manager of Podium, and then few months later or a year later, they asked me to open Mall of Asia. From the smallest mall of SM to the biggest and the most ambitious mall of SM. Definitely, I was scared. I was definitely scared because such a big task. They asked me to premiumize some of the projects of SM, which includes Mega Mall, then we opened Mega Fashion Hall, and then SM Aura Premier, and then we opened the block in North EDSA. After maybe a year or two, they gave me the whole SM together with managing also our malls in China. Again, back to China. I think being CHiNOY, for me, with what I'm doing right now, has helped me so much. And good thing that, it added to my resume the fact that, I speak fluent Mandarin, I read and write Mandarin. So that also aided me in understanding and doing business in China, which we are currently expanding a lot. Now, we currently have 7 to 8 shopping centers in China. We're opening 2 malls next year, but also here in the Philippines, even during the pandemic, we opened malls and we will be opening another 2 malls by the end of the year. Also, the values that my parents have instilled in me has also helped. With all these things that I've learned, has helped me shape to what I'm doing today and what I will be doing in the next few years.
Chinese by blood, Filipino by heart. Hashtag One CHiNOY is brought to you by Cardinal Santos Medical Center, Progressive Laboratories, SM Supermalls, Waters Philippines, Evergreen Cereal, AgriPro, Premier Nutrition Incorporated, Global Diesel and GU Engineering, H&E Manufacturing Corporation, Vecco Paper Corporation, Nation Paper Products and Printing Corporation, Ford Tractor Philippines, your long-term agriculture partner, Japan Parts Trading Center, Pinturado Sellado Protectado Sigurado, AquaGuard Elastomeric Waterproofing Paint, Chua Beng Teng, Alejandro Co, Jimmy C, Nung Family, Enrique Chua, Chan Kwan, Wu Chongzhen, Li Pui Chin. Chinese by blood, Filipino by heart.
Mentors for me are very important. And of course, aside from my father, I was very fortunate that the best mentor that I have ever had is Mr. Henry C. Sr. During the latter part of his life, he would always visit Mall of Asia every afternoon at around 2 or 3 o'clock. He will be there. He will sit at Starbucks. He'll ask his secretary to call me to go down and see him. He's an innovator. He is our chief innovator officer of SM, no? He's not afraid to do business, even during times like, People's Power, 1986. We opened SM North EDSA at the height of the revolution. We were expanding like 5 to 6 malls during the Asian crisis. We opened Mall of Asia. He's not afraid to take risks. He's a risk taker. But he's also somebody who listens to his customers a lot. Mr. C would always put his ears on the ground and understand what his market is looking for. Mr. C once told us, in good times, we work hard, but in bad times, we work harder. That's why during this pandemic, nobody had the playbook. Nobody knew what was going on what will happen, right? But this challenge or this adversity, we look at it as an opportunity. Opportunity for us to improve how we do things, how we serve our customers. It is this pandemic that led us to speed up this SM Malls online that we have right now. No? Last year, we closed March 16. Only deliveries are allowed to be transacted in the malls. No? But there's no Grab or there's no Lala Move Bulacan or in Pampanga or in down south, right? So what we did instead is, the displaced tricycle drivers, the displaced jeepney drivers that could not also do business because of the restriction of transportation, we use them as our delivery service. Those are things that I believe that, is part of our culture. It's innovation and looking for a solution for any problem. Malling culture is a unique Filipino culture. Actually, the word malling is only, I believe, is coined here in the Philippines. Filipinos love malling. We are all mall rats, no? So even during this pandemic, I'm very glad that people start warming up to come back to the malls already. But I would just want to make sure that, when you visit an SM Supermalls, it's safe, secure, and you feel protected. There's no better teacher than traveling for me. I've traveled in all corners of the world, and for me, I would really encourage everyone, if you could travel, whether it's local or international, even to the next province, there's always learning. When I was living in Paris, everybody knows that Paris was one of the cities that has the best when it comes to retail, when it comes to fashion. And I think that also influences me. It definitely helped me with what I'm doing right now, no? Because you're exposed. You're exposed to different cultures, to different styles, to different aesthetics. Those are all very helpful to me. For me, the sweetest success is when you really work hard for it. And challenges, those are all part and parcel of, achieving those success that we currently are enjoying. No? Mall of Asia is one of our most productive, if not the most productive mall that we have in the whole of SM Supermalls. But before it opened, it's all the way in the reclamation area of Pasay. There's really no community in that area. In the whole 66 hectares of the whole Mall of Asia complex, there's nothing but just a church. So when we invite tenants, definitely, tenants to go, they would always tell me, who are your customers? Where would the customers come from? You take this as a challenge to do better, to pursue, to believe in the vision of Mr. Henry C. Sr. Because he had the vision, and our job is to make sure that we pursue it and to make sure that we achieve it. For me, if there would be something that, I believe that we should not lose, it should be integrity. Integrity is everything. Name is everything. Protect your integrity. In Chinese, we call it 面子, meaning face. Don't do anything that will damage your reputation. It's all about integrity if you look at it. It's about protecting your name. If there's something that I would be proud of being CHiNOY, is for me to be able to communicate both in Chinese, Tagalog, and English. If I would be giving 3 advices, that would be: first, find a mentor. Find a mentor who could guide you. Second, do not afraid to to do odd jobs. There's opportunity to learn. You could always learn from something that is new. It might sometimes sound, uncomfortable because people are always, they're not used to new projects or new challenges. But for me, I take it as an opportunity for me to learn. But third and lastly, you have to enjoy what you're doing. Find the enjoyment. Find that joy in every job or in everything that you do. The reason why I agreed to this interview, I have so many interviews lined up, and I've said no to a lot of them. But however, when this was presented to me, immediately, that sentence wasn't even finished, and I said yes to it. You know why? Because I want to make sure that the tradition and the culture and all these things that I'm talking about could be passed on to our younger generation. So there would be continuity.
For more information about today's episode, visit www.chinoy.tv. And subscribe to our YouTube channel for full episodes of Chinese by Blood, Filipino by Heart. Chinese by Blood, Filipino by Heart. #OneChinoy is brought to you by Canis Prime Adult Dog Food. Feed them with love. Waters Philippines. SM Supermalls. PG Flex Linoleum and Maruyama Tarpaulin. Evergreen Cereal. AgriPro, Premier Nutrition Incorporated. Global Diesel and GU Engineering. H&E Manufacturing Corporation. Vecco Paper Corporation. Nation Paper Products and Printing Corporation. Ford Tractor Philippines, your long-term agriculture partner. Pinturado Sellado Protectado Sigurado, AquaGuard Elastomeric Waterproofing Paint. Chua Bengteng. Alejandro Co. Jimmy C. Nung Family. George Cham. William Goshako. Chinese by Blood, Filipino by Heart.
I went to 2 schools, which was very brutal, honestly, where it was morning was English classes, afternoon was Chinese classes. So when I got out of preschool, I didn't know that everyone else just had morning classes. I had twice the work at 3 years old already, so I'm very frustrated.
In fact, it was something that I was sometimes anxious about. Whenever we'd have to learn Mandarin, for example, I would be quite stressed because it wasn't a language that I was familiar with.
As early as in preschool, I would join singing competitions, both in Chinese, in Filipino, and in English, so trilingual songs. And I think in a way I found a sense of, oh yeah, okay, this is a fun Chinese song.
Growing up here in the Philippines, I usually spoke English and Tagalog, and Mandarin felt very foreign to me despite knowing that I was CHiNOY. And it was something that I didn't necessarily understand why we had to do at that time.
I also studied in a Filipino Chinese school, so I know how to speak Mandarin. It's like, oh yeah, we can understand what our parents are talking about in conversations. Stuff like that. And I love that kind of sense of, being able to celebrate that culture and the language and the heritage.
There's a move now, not only Philippines but worldwide, to improve Chinese language education. Even the Facebook owner, si Mark Zuckerberg, he is studying Mandarin every day for 1 hour. The world now needs to trade with China. We need to do more business with the world's rising economic superpower. And I think we, in the ethnic Chinese minority, if we still retain our culture, we could help the Philippines compete with other countries for China's business.
Chinese by blood, Filipino by heart. Hashtag One CHiNOY was brought to you by Doña Maria Premium Quality Rice, our Filipino farmers' hard work and dedication in every grain. BA Securities, your trading partner in Asia Pacific.
Being on stage, when there were no parts for me, I would be backstage. I'll be in the marketing team, I'll be selling the shows, or I'll be getting the sponsors. By being CHiNOY worked.
It's very important for me to be empowering CHiNOYs in the media industry. There's always opportunity for all of you because, you wouldn't know up to what extent your talent can grow.